Hey guys, welcome to June 3rd, 1984. I'm going to stream just a few minutes of me playing my next game in this 1984 community project. I believe when JC Sports Replays, who started this project, started it, his intention was for people, sort of some streamers, to stream some games. So I'm going to do at least a few innings of that. I've never streamed a game and don't really want to slow down gameplay by streaming, but I wanted to pay homage to JC Sports Replay and do some of that. So I'm going to switch over to that. First, I'm trying to get this pulled up so that I can see chat because I know that can be helpful. We'll see how that works. So yeah, it's June 3rd, 1984. I'm going to share my screen. Hide this, and let's start off by showing you I'm using PC Replay as my helper, and the standings. Let's look at these two teams in the standings before I really get going here. CardandDiceBaseball.com is where we put these. I just finished a big series in the National League East between the Cubs and the Phillies, and it was a 4-game series, and the Phillies took 3 out of 4 to move into a 4-way tie in the National League East. The Cubs are 3.5 out, but I am playing uh, Detroit and Baltimore. Baltimore is pretty far behind. They're 18 games out. Detroit is trying to catch Toronto. You can see if we click on Detroit here, they've had a good block going. Let's see, 4-1. So these games of block started, I think, on the 28th. So they're 4-1 this block. Toronto's 4-2, finished the block 4-2. So if Detroit can win this game, they'll finish a game, they'll gain a game on this block on Toronto, which would be nice. So where we're currently at in the standings, we've got Detroit trying to win this game to get to only 5 games behind, and Baltimore needs to win to get to 17 and a half games behind. I don't see them coming back, but you never know. So using PC Replay Baseball to do it, and going to turn the sound down. I hope it's not coming through on the video on YouTube because it's kind of annoying. But this is, PC Replay Baseball. I really enjoy Digital Diamond. It was the first helper I found, and it's great. But to me, nothing beats PC Replay Baseball. The presentation is just crisp and clean. You've got the cards over here, especially if you're using Replay Baseball as your card game. I mean, it's really good because all of your ratings are up here, and you can set the computer to go AI against you and make those decisions. And you can click the little pencil right here, and you can enter in. And a lot of people, I see a lot of people. It's still really fast if you find and you click. If it's a single, you click on the S. But literally, all you have to do is click S on your keyboard, and it'll put it in for you. And it's lightning fast. If there's a 4-3 ground out, like I said, love some of the other helpers, but on PC Replay Baseball, if it's a 4-3 ground out, especially if you know 9 key, it's literally 4-3 on your little 9-key keyboard. Just press 4-3 and it moves to the next batter. And then if it's strikeout, you press K. You don't have to hit enter to bring up the next interface. So if it goes ground out to second, strikeout, and fly out to right, you literally press 4-3 K F9. I mean, and you don't have to click over here, even though that is faster. But man, the keyboard shortcuts are really, really what takes this to hyper level, just in my humble opinion. And I feel this is faster, but if you want to get really fast, just type in generally, your whatever's over here is what you're going to type in. And you don't ever have to worry about finding the mouse. If you're like me, then you have to, once you find the mouse, then you have to get your bifocals right and be like, okay, where's the pointer on my screen? Oh, here it is. And then drag it over here to the S and then click S. Literally just press S and you're on to the next batter. And if it's strikeout, press K and you're on to the next batter. Ground out a second, 4-3, and you're on to the next batter. So I'll get off of that soapbox for now. But I'm gonna show. You can also enter your own dice rolls. So that's what I'm gonna do for a few innings of this game, and then I might show off some of the keyboard entry. But so I've got on my desktop in front of me, I got Wilcox and Bunbury, and over here on the left, I mean, it literally looks just like my game top, my desktop. I've got the cards over here. So I'm gonna roll the dice, and let's see what we get here. And that's going to be a 133, and it will highlight in gold for you. So in replay baseball, you look at the batter's card first. That's the one thing I don't like about replay baseball. I guess you could look at the pitcher's card first, but I think the best practice is to look at the batter's card first. So you can see I wrote a 1-3. So you find the 1 and then the 3, and that's a 4. And then you using the red 1, then the blue 3, you look at the pitcher's cards. And probably not gonna be able to see this very well, but there we go. The pitcher's cards are in blue, um, like the blue dice. So anyway, we got this 4 plus 2. I just know that strike. That's a strike. Oh, and it even tells you here. So this is a strikeout. So, and I'm just on to the next batter. Um, so that was Bunbury. Next, we got Jim Dwyer, who in my portion of the replay. So these stats that you're going to see down here are not the replay stats. They're the stats from my times using him in the replay, because I'm keeping all my stats here in PC Replay Baseball as I play them, and then I transfer them over to Card and Dice. But I had a whole lot more stats than this. We switched from our initial setup to this modified as played setup, and I lost all of my stats when we did that. So I had accumulated a lot of stats, and I lost those. But I'm restarting. So since the restart, Jim Dwyer's hitting 250 with one hit. Okay, let's get to rolling some. So 3-1-4. And you can see that's going to be a double to right field. And you can just hit enter instead of the end play there. And we got 3-2-5. It's going to be a 14 on 3 is a line out to third by Cal Ripken. And now we got Eddie Murray. 2-1-3. And he grounded out to the pitcher. So you can see everything else disappears, and you've got the pitcher, and it tells you right here as well. So now I've got Flanagan versus Lou Whitaker. 2-6-1. So it's a 2-6-1. One of the things when I was learning PC baseball is I would use the cards and dice with this helper, and I would look up the results before I entered the wind to see if I got it right. So I rolled a 2-6-1. So 2-6 is going to be this 55. The shaded in area means you use this team card over here, and here's the 1984 Tiger Stadium team card. So 2-6 is a 55, and then 2-1, I'm going to add that 2 to it. So 2-6-1, and it brings up the line from the team card that I'm going to be using, and then it shows you what you need. So if I roll on the re-roll on the team card, which is this line of the card right here, because we're looking at the die number being 55. So If I roll a 1 through 4, then it's going to be a fly out to left field. If I roll a 5 or 6, it's going to be a 7. I mean, it's going to be a single. And I rolled a 5. So I enter the 5 in, and I have my single. So Whitaker on first. And I love the games that have the auto steal system. So I don't have to think about, should I try to steal here or should I not try to steal here? 2, 5, 6. And we got the ground out, but it advances the runner. So ground out to second. 4, 6, 6. And we've got the on the 4 column on replay baseball, you use the defense. So a 4, 6 is an 11. So we're going to take that 11 and we're going to add it to the second baseman. So if you look at the actual card here, it's going to show you that a 6 is referring to the second baseman. And so you're going to add that second baseman's rating to the 11 here. And the second baseman is a 3. So the result here is to check for an error. And his error is in order to get an error, I have to roll higher than a 53. So 1 to 53, or I guess 11 to 53, he makes the play. And then the blue die is if it's a 6, it's a 2-base error. So I roll a 22, 6. So it would have been a 2-base error, but he made the play. So it's going to move the guy over, the runner. It's going to move Whitaker over to third. And so there's 2 outs with Lance Parrish coming to the plate. And I rolled a 2, 4, 3. So the 55. So this raised 2 here. I know it probably seems like a lot for replay baseball, but I also do really like playing classic replay baseball. But that's a different stream for another day, maybe. Other people have done really good jobs with that. But the 55 with the raise 2 is you're looking at the fielder's defense. If in the outfield, higher is better. In the infield, lower is better, which is one of the other things that every game has its thing or things that you wish were different. And one of the negatives on replay baseball to me is that in the outfield, you want higher ratings. In the infield, you want lower ratings. But once you learn that, it's not too bad. So 55-2, and then it's hit to the center fielder, and he's a 4, so he makes the play. Which is what all of this is telling you right here. As the outfielder's defensive rating is higher than the raised number, it's a fly out to center field. All right, let's roll an inning here without kind of talking our way through. So I've got Wayne Gross versus Wilcox, and I rolled a 4-1-3, which is going to be a ground out to the third baseman. Lowenstein, 4-4-3. That's going to be a ground out to the third baseman. And then 2-5-2. 2-5-2. And I don't normally play this way. So you can see I'm trying to look over at the cards and the charts and everything because that's how I normally play. I don't like to just put in the dice rolls. So after this second inning, I might try to do the third inning, just kind of showing off the stat entry mode for PC replay baseball. So 3-4-2. And this is a rare play. So I'm going to get a 6. And it's a dribbler to the mound. And his speed is a 4. And I rolled a 4. So it's not higher. So he is safe on 1-4. So he made it. He beat out the play. And I got Lemon. coming to bat here, and I wrote a 3-6-2. That's going to be a single moving Herndon over to third. So there's built-in logic, and all of this is right on the charts. So got first place playing in, and everybody else going for the double play. And if you wanted to do your squeeze or sack, you could try that right here. Over here. Uh, 1-3-5. 1-3-5. And that's going to be a strikeout, which is what you didn't want in that situation. Because now the double play could get Flanagan out of the inning. Let's hope he doesn't. 3-4-4. And we rolled a 59, so it's going to be a rare play. If you roll a 1 on a 59, then it's a possibility of a foul. On a rare play, then it's a possibility of a foul out. Or no, that's the ballpark card, my bad. 4 is what I rolled. So it's a dribbler to the mound, and now got to make a decision. And I don't have the AI logic turned on. I'm making decisions for both teams. So since the speed of all these guys is 4, so I'm going to have them try for the guy at home. So 1-4, he's safe, and I wrote a 5. So they got him at home. And looks like Flanagan, he's an out away from getting out of that jam that he was in. 1-3-1 sounds like a strikeout roll. 1-3 is going to be a 4, and then a 1-1 is a 2, and a 6 is a strikeout. Let's test myself. 1-3-1. And you can see it's a 6 in column 1, and it's a strikeout. So you get to memorize these results pretty quickly, even though there's a lot to it. The majority of the rolls are redundant or repetitive, so you'll get those over and over. All right, so now I'm going to try an inning just to show off the stat entry mode. So I'm actually going to make the rolls on my tabletop, and then I'm going to use my keyboard. And you can't use the keyboard for all of them. I'm sure you actually probably can. I just don't know all the keyboard shortcuts. And most people here, like I said, will use the pointer, which is probably even faster than other products that are out there that does this for you. But the keyboard's even faster. So I've got Wilcox versus Dower, and I rolled a 3-3-5. And if you want to follow along, you can see it. The cards over here. So 3-3-5 is a 3-3 on the hitter's card. Is a 3 asterisk, which is a part of the auto stolen base attempt. And then the 3-5 on the pitcher's card. So I've got a 6 on a 3, and that's going to be a short fly out to center. So literally just F8. It's that quick, and the out popped up. So, I mean, that didn't have to quick, and it's not a slam on Digital Diamond. I love Digital Diamond. It has every season. It's the value, you can't beat it. But as far as speed and efficiency, it's PC replay baseball for me. Because in Digital Diamond, you would have to click the enter to get it to come up. And even if you have the commentary on lightning mode, it still will run through a little bit of commentary. And then you have to enter in the play, and then you have to hit enter. So this is a lot more like real scorekeeping, where it's just literally F8. And I didn't have to press enter to bring it up, didn't have to press enter to enter the result. It recognized it. The only one, sometimes you will have to press enter once you type in the code, because it could be like a S. If you just hit S, it doesn't know if it's an S or an S plus, which would be a lead runner's advance. All right, so now we've got Wilcox versus Dempsey. And I rolled a 4-1-2. 4-1 is a 19, and then a 4-2 is going to be checking the second baseman's defense. So that's where this comes in really handy. I see my second baseman defense is a 2, so that's Lou Whitaker. So a 21 on a 4 is a single, but there is an additional chart. There's called the 20 and 21 chart. because I'm using the advanced rules, and it's right on the boards if you're familiar with replay baseball. So I'm going to roll under the 21 column, and he's only actually safe on 2 to 5. 1 or 6, he's out, and it's a 3. So he actually gets the single. And I just did S and enter. That was it. Now, because I was a plus, this is part of the auto steal system. You roll against the catcher's defense, his overall rating. I believe I always have to look this up, and I believe I'm rolling against this 5 here, Parrish's defense, and if it's 1 to 5, he's out, and 6, he's safe. But let me double check the plus symbol. So plus sign, roll 1 die against the catcher's regular defense rating. If it is not higher, the runner is caught stealing. If the die is higher, it is a stolen base. On a roll of 6, checks for possible throwing error. So I'm going to roll. So Parrish evidently was a great catcher. Rolled a 4. So that's going to be literally in real. If you were keeping score, you would do what? You would do CS2 because the shortstop would be covering with the left-handed batter. Shortstop, you would do CS26. That's that's literally what you just type in on the keyboard. CS26. Boom. I just typed that in. Didn't have to press enter or anything. Didn't have to think of, any weird codes or anything like that. So now you could have come over here. You could have found where's my mouse on the keyboard. Oh, here it is. It's way over here. Let me drag it over here. Now let me search through here. Oh, that's going to be this button right here, and press that button. You can do that, and that's still probably faster than Digital Diamond. Again, not a slam on Digital Diamond. I really like it. Probably my intent more is to show replay people who are using replay baseball, who are using PC replay baseball. I see a lot of people who use this product clicking these buttons, and it's still the best product out there if you're clicking the buttons. But it's even better if you just use the keyboard, because CS26 is always in the same place on my keyboard. I never know where this pointer is. I am legally blind in one eye. Most of us who play this game are older. So we don't know where the mouse is, and we don't have it. Mine's huge on my screen. I don't think it comes across in the screencast how big it is, but most of us have the little white mouse, and it's way over here to the left, and we have to find it first, and then we have to drag it over, then we have to get our bifocals adjusted, then we have to find which of the buttons over here it is, and then we have to click it. But CS26 is always the same spot on my keyboard. So all right, I'm done with the soapbox for real this time. um, we got Bunbury back up. So top of the order, and it is still Wilcox versus Bunbury, and I rolled a 5-1-4. So 5-1 is a 5, and then a 5-4 is an 8 on a 5, and I believe that's a base on balls. Jim Dwyer's up, 4-2-2. 4-2-2 is a 17, and the second baseman, Lou Whitaker, add that 2, is a 19 on a 4, and I believe that is an out with the infield playing back. Yes, that is a 4-3 ground out. All right, moving down to the bottom of the third, and we've got Flanagan versus Whitaker. And I rolled a 3-6-1. 3-6 is a 47, and a 1 on the pitcher's column is a 48 on a 3. And that is going to be a line drive toward right field. If the pitcher is left-handed, it's a leaping catch by the second baseman. If somebody was on base, it could be a possible double play. So just a L4. Two, 4, 3. 2-4 is an 11 plus, and then a 2-3 is a 14 on a 2. It's going to be a single to center field. So it's a possible stolen base. So I'm rolling against Dempsey 1 to 4. He gets the runner, and he does. So that's going to be a call stealing 2-4. And Barbaro Garby. I do not remember Barbaro Garby. I was 6 years old in the summer of 1984. I remember the stars of this year, but I don't remember the everyday players. 251. So a 25 is a 16, and a 21 is a 2. So 18. That's going to be a fly out to center. All right. I'm going to call that a video and finish rolling out the rest of the game. Hope that that was helpful and insightful for everybody. Um, as you can see, I really like replay baseball. I really like PC replay baseball as its own standalone PC game, as dice entry mode. But where I really, really think that it shines is as a board game companion. And it is a little more expensive. You have to buy the seasons, and they don't have every season. So that's another reason why I still really love Digital Diamond Baseball. You cannot beat the value. It has every season. You can get the Status Pro cards. At least you could on the version I have. I know they've updated it. I don't have the most recent version. I have the second newest version. Um, so but on that version I have, you had that was really the tipping and selling point for me is that you could play Status Pro as a game. You could play it as get every card for every player. Um, it has a great place in the hobby. But anytime I can play one of these games, use PC Replay as my board game companion, I'm definitely going to be doing that. I think it is a great game. But where it really shines is a board game companion. And lastly, I'm really enjoying the 1984 PC or the 1984 community project. I usually play. I would dial this down if we had more people playing, but I usually play about 15 to 20 games each block, and which seems to be working for the community. I'll wait and give everybody plenty of time to sign up, and then I start signing up for games as they go. I try to get the games that aren't as much fun, but it's a good project if you're not involved with that. I, if and you'd like to, no deadlines unless we get close to the really end of a block and all the games are signed up for, then we'll set some deadlines. But for the most part, you can just pick a game and play it. You don't have to sign up, and then there's so many games out there. You don't have to like sign up and get it played within a week. It's just whenever you want to play a game, go pick it on the schedule. Here's a schedule whenever you want to go play a game. Just go pick it. If I wanted to play today, we only have one left that's not signed up this block. But if I was in the mood to play a game right now, um, I would just come and put my name in here, and then I would play the San Fran at Philly game. So you can see some guys grab some games in advance. You can do that as well. We just ask you not to grab any unless you know you're going to play it. But if you're not going to play it, just come and remove your name. If you realize, I'm not going to get to that game, and we ask that you only sign up for games that are in color here. Um, there's some other tabs down here. You don't really need those. If you get a rainout game, because we're doing a modified as scheduled as played. This started as a as scheduled project, and then we switched it over to as played. But we've already built the schedule in as scheduled. So this game came up, this block, but it was actually postponed until September 6th. So any of those games, there's a hyperlink right here, and here's a video on my YouTube channel of how to do this. But in this column, the O column, there's a hyperlink to the game where you can get the box score if you're not using something like Digital Diamond or PC Replay Baseball and you want to get the as played lineups. Also, if your game doesn't include, we don't want to exclude any game. So if your game doesn't include every single player, then just make a reasonable substitution. If a player who played in the game that day wasn't available, just make a reasonable substitution. We're rolling with it. We're treating this back like when we were kind of 12 years old. Um, and we weren't as concerned with getting the stats within 2 degrees of difficult, within 2% of whatever, the K statistic or whatever that we learned about in grad school. Um, just getting it as reasonably close and as realistic as possible, but fun is the main thing here. All right, so going to stop there. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.